Cheers, Dave. Thank you. Hi, Carlos.
No.
Can we start with your team news, please? Any new issues coming out of the weekend ahead of the trip to Wycombe?
No. Right now the team is in a good condition. We continue having the same player. The only player that is on doubts is Koroma. We need to be waiting about how he reacts during today, from today until tomorrow, because we know that when we have a consecutive number of games, all the players, when they have small issues, they need a little bit of time to see how they adapt to the issue, if they are ready or they are not ready. He's going to travel, and we are going to be waiting for the last time until tomorrow to make the decision with him.
So it's about a balance, isn't it, with him, I suppose? Then you just have to make the judgment call on the day. Is that how it will work?
More than balance is to be watching if he's ready to compete or he's not ready to compete. We want to, if he's fit and if he's in a good condition, this is what we want. He will be in the team. And he doesn't feel okay, he doesn't feel in a good conditions, he's not going to be with the team.
And what about the latest? Yeah, sorry. What about the latest with Pritchard and Pieper as well? Any further advancement with either of them?
They continue in the same way that they are managing until now. They continue in the last part of the recovery. So we hope that they can be with the squad soon.
What about the weekend? How do you reflect on it now? Very entertaining for a neutral to watch, but what about from a head coach's perspective? I imagine not so entertaining.
Yeah, no, never. Of course, when we concede 4 goals, we never can be. We are not going to be happy, even knowing that we did a lot of positive things. We are not going to be complacent with ourselves or with the players. I think you cannot be when you trust on your player, when you trust on the team. You are going to demand. We are going to demand ourselves more than anyone is going to demand to us.
You've scored some fantastic goals, haven't you, recently? Do you feel that understanding that you're wanting to get through to those players is happening now? Do you feel they're starting to really know where their teammates are going to be at the right time, who's going to make the right move and the right run at that time? Do you feel that's really getting through to them?
I think, of course, with the pass of the minutes, the relation between the players start to increase. They feel more comfortable. They start to find more which player want the ball to the body, which player prefer the ball to the space, in which space one player is going to attack more than in another space. So, of course, the pass of the minutes and the pass of the games increase the positive relation that they can have between them if they are focused to understand what the teammates can demand or can need in each action. So I think more than they understand my ideas, it's like they work they work with the relations and with the skills that they have, and they find the solutions that they are able to find. So of course, it's the same. We are going to be demanding with ourselves, trying to find the best possibilities during the game that can help us more to hurt the opponent and to create a chance. And at the same time, we need to understand better the game, trying to avoid the chances, because to have a team that's trying to attack doesn't mean that we are not going to defend well. And to have one team that have to defend strong doesn't mean that we are not going to attack strong too. So always is important to find the balance. Sometimes when you are very focused to attack, you lose the concentration in defense. When you are very focused in defense, you lose the concentration in attack. And it's important to find this balance in each team, in each game.
Is that the biggest thing that you need to work on then, do you feel? That when you're defending, you're not just defending, and when you're attacking, you're not just attacking?
This is something that that for me is key, because in football is one sport that the transitions move very fast. So in the moment you are in attack and you lose the concentration and you lose in your mind the point that if you lose the ball, you have to defend fast, and you lose the relation with the opponent that you have to mark in case that you lose the ball, of course, you are not attacking well. And at the same time, if you just be focused in defense without thinking the option in the spaces that after you need to explode to can hurt the opponent, you are going to be 90 minutes in defense and you are not going to get any positive result either. So always football, the attack and the defense are very close to can separate these two moments. So that's why, like you say, we need to be always looking how we attack well with the options to defend well, how we are going to defend well with the options to attack well too.
On the defence, what do you need to do, very simply put, to improve your defending, do you feel, and to stop conceding as many goals as you appear to be conceding?
I think before to the last game, the team didn't receive a lot of goals, and in some of the games that we have played, we didn't concede many chances. Of course, in this game, for me, we increased the chances that we concede. it was more similar for me to the Brentford game that was at the beginning of the season, that in the dynamic that the team has in the last performance or in the last games. At the same time, sometimes the fact that we concede goals doesn't mean that we are not defending well. Can mean that we are not attacking well. So doesn't mean that all the goals have the relation just with the defensive moment. Of course, if you analyze the 4 goals that we conceded in the last game, something that we did with the players, 2 of these goals were a second ball of a 1 second piece or 1 second piece situation. So the second piece situation demand a lot in the championship, are going to be very important, especially with some teams. Tomorrow, for example, are going to be very important, and versus Stoke City, these 2 situations were very important. So of course, if you attack very well and you lose the concentration to defend well 1 situation of the game, you are going to give to the opponent options to score the goal, something that we need to try to avoid. So one of the points, if we analyze the 4 goals, 2 goals arrive not from the heading directly from the set pieces, arrive from the second ball of the set pieces. And at the same time, the other 2 goals that we concede arrive from a losing in our playing out. It means that we didn't attack well. So more than that, we didn't defend well. For me, it's like we didn't defend well the second ball or the second pieces in the last game, and we didn't attack well in the last game because we lose a couple of balls in the playing out or in the first moment of the building up of the game, and that's why we lose the ball, and that's why we couldn't prevent the reaction after this. If we analyze the second goal, it's clear that we were higher in the pitch, that we were close to, we had players with the possibility to break their press in that moment and create 1 chance. We didn't do, and we didn't prevent the losing of the ball. That's why for me we concede the second goal. And the third goal was a mistake for me of the reading of the need in the minute of the game. So a different type of situation. At the same time, of course, always when you make one decision, you are going to take some risk. If we want to play from the back, always you have more chance to lose the ball at the beginning of the pitch. But at the same time, if you play long balls, you are going to be separate, and if you don't win the second ball, you are going to receive chances too. So every style have points that we need to be very, very careful, that we need to manage very well, and that we need to play with a lot of concentration these points to help us to have success in the develop of the game.
Can I ask you about your goalkeeper at the weekend as well, Joel Pereira, and what you made to his performance?
I think Joel Pereira is a keeper that we signed at the beginning because always we want to have the options to have first goalkeepers, because for me the situation of the keeper always is a special situation. You cannot have one keeper that you don't trust in him as a first keeper, because for me the first goalkeeper have to be the character and the conditions to be the first keeper of the team, and the second goalkeeper have to have the conditions to be the first keeper of the game, of the team, because in any moment, like the other day, appear. And the third keeper, exactly the same, because when the second keeper plays as a first keeper, the third keeper plays as a second goalkeeper. Then he needs to have the same skills. So for me, it's very important for us as a club to have 3 keepers that can help us to solve any situation that they need to solve. Of course, when you play your first game and you concede 4 goals, you as a keeper is the first one. You is the first one that is someone that demand to himself a lot, and the first one that is not happy is the keeper when you concede goals. Not because he's responsible of the goals, because any goalkeeper like to concede goals. Every goalkeeper want to have the clean sheet and want to have the feeling to don't receive any goal. But Joel is a very demanding goalkeeper that for me he has skills enough to play better than he played the other day. That's why he's here with us, and this is what we expect from him.
Have you had to put an arm around him then? Have you had to kind of give him a bit of encouragement again? Not again because he was to blame for any of the goals, but because he was the man who had to pick it out of the net 4 times, wasn't he?
Yeah, but always, sometimes when you have in your mind that the 3 keepers that you have the option to play, sometimes we don't have to make a special treatment to the keeper. So, because, for example, for me, have to play again the game of Stoke City, I will play again with Joel Pereira with any doubt. Because for me, he had all the conditions to can solve the situation of the games. After in the games, the players can feel more comfortable, they can solve better the situation, or the game doesn't work in the perfect way for them, and they don't solve the situation like they can solve. Not only the keeper, every pitch, every player in the pitch. Of course, the keeper is a special position because they know that any mistake, they don't have any player that is going to support them. That's why they need to have a special characters. But we need to analyze the needs of the game too, and we need to make the decision depending about are going to be the needs of each game.
You used 4 of your 5 substitutes as well in the new ruling. I know 2 of them were very late on, but is that something that you think is going to be a positive for you and Huddersfield Town to be able to have those extra couple of options to come from the bench if you need them?
More than positive or not positive, for me is the rule that we have right now. And every time you have one rule, you need to adapt to the use of the rule by the opponents and to the use of the rule by yourself. So I think always we can use two players more than before as a first players if we make the subs in the right moment, because we know that when you have 3 options to make the subs. So always is one point that we need to be ready to adapt when the opponent does, and with the option that it helps you to play with more players than before we didn't have the option to play. And of course, if we have this rule, we are going to try to use the rule in the best way to help us.
It may allow you to use or give more game time to young players like you did at the weekend with Matty Daly, mightn't it, as well? It allows them to be integrated maybe a little bit smoother.
Matty Daly is not playing because he's a young player. Matty Daly is playing because we think he's a player that in the moment of the pitch, when he went inside to the pitch, he could help the team. This is the only feeling that we have. It's like, I am not thinking that I am going to be focused to use the rule to give more minutes to the young players. We are going to be focused to use the rules to be more competitive team. And that's why Matty Daly played the other day, because, or Adama Diakabi played the other day in the minutes that they play, because we were thinking that in that moment, we will be more competitive with these players in the pitch. And always is going to be like this.
Finally, from me, Wycombe, what do you make to them as a side? They had a very tough start to the season, didn't they? But they look to have improved a little bit since then.
I think Wycombe show that they are a team that after they promote to the championship level, they need some games to be adapted to the level. But this team show that they were very open and analyze a lot the situation to be adapted to this level and to face the level in the right way. If we analyze, I think it's very easy when you see one team that came from the League One, everyone it can be thinking that it's going to be one weak team, but I don't think I never trust in these things. Our job is to analyze very well the teams that we are going to face. What I was watching of them is like they lost the first games, all the first games that they were playing during this year, and after they lost only one game of the 5 last games that they have played. So in the five last games, they beat 2 opponents. They draw 1-2, and they lost 1-2. So at the end they wait 1 second. I don't have. But the idea is like in the last games, the improvement of them was very clear in the year. I don't want to give you any bad information. They draw twice. The first game that they draw was versus Watford. The last game that they drew was versus Brentford the other day, and in the middle they beat Sheffield, they beat Birmingham, and they lost versus Nottingham Forest. And the game before these last 5 games, they lost in the last minute, in the minute 95 of the game versus Norwich, when they were drawing in the game. So it means that the game is going to be very demanding, not because we want to say this, because they are showing that they are ready to adapt to this. What they did for me, after the first results, they changed the shape. They start to use again the shape that they were using when they were in League One. They start to play more 4-3-1-2, and they start to feel that they find a way to be very competitive in the championship. And for me, it's a team that did this perfectly.
Thank you, Carlos. Good luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Johnny. Dom, you want to pick up from there, please?
Hi, Carlos. Can I just check, what is Josh Karoma's injury then ahead of tomorrow? And how big a blow would it be if he can't play for you?
Yes, and the other day, in one of the set pieces, he tried to win one ball of the set pieces on one of the corners. In this moment, he kicked with the opponent in the ribs. So he feel this pain in that moment. He was playing with a little bit pain. That's why we're feeling that he didn't play in the normal way that he usually was playing. That's why we decided to make the sub. But he was carrying on with this because it's only a little bit of pain. Now we make a scan. We are waiting the result just in case something happens. But if anything happens important, it's just him. He has the option to play. But every player needs to know that sometimes you need to know how to manage the pain and try to play football, because you are not going to have any problem. It's just the pain that you have.
Do you know when Ben Hamer might be ready to return for you?
Yes, I think Ben Hamer, in less than 1 week, he's going to be able to come back with the team.
Have you already made your decision on who's going to be in goal for you tomorrow night?
Like I told you, like I didn't make a decision in any of the players right now. I am watching how they react to the last game, and we are preparing the game with the different options that we have as a team.
Yeah. What's the latest with Pippa?
Pippa is in the last process of his recovery. He had the problem with the hamstring. He is continue working with the medical staff, and we hope that we are going to have him. If we don't have him on Saturday, we hope that we have him in the next game.
And how close is Alex Vallejo from figuring in the matchday squad?
With Alex Vallejo, we want to work in a very specific point, because for me, Alex is a long time without being playing before he arrived here with us, something that we know, something that we accept, and that's why he's here with us, because we trust more in his potential, but at the same time, we want to adapt him to the championship demandings. We don't want to give minutes until the players are not ready enough to face the minutes in the perfect way to help the team. So what we are doing is to continue working with him. He's making a specific plan with the physical coaches, because we know that in the moment that he arrived from Spain, he had to stay 14 days in quarantine, that he couldn't work in the normal way of other players. And what we are doing with him is like a precision. We need to adapt himself and his behaviors and his body to the demand of the championship. We are using now all the beating games to give him more minutes, and like he's not going to be involved tomorrow in the squad. He will play, if everything goes well, he will play 90 minutes with the B team after tomorrow with the game that they have. So these 90 minutes are going to help us to analyze how he is, and it's going to help him to be more ready to compete.
How important is it that people are patient with Alex as he adapts to a new league, new culture?
I think, I don't know, sometimes the patient depends about the expectations. We know that Alex came here to the club to create a more number of players that we are going to need in this type of season that we are going to play with a lot of games in a row. So the most important for me now is to prepare himself to can help the team in the moment that he's ready to help the team. So more than patient or no, our expectations with him are working in the way that we were expecting to be working with him, because his reaction to the work is very well. We know that he is a very good professional player, and we know that he is very ambitious player to work, and he's going to put his level in the best, trying to help the team as soon as possible too.
Wycombe are a big physical team. How confident are you that your side will be able to cope with that?
We always are. I always trust a lot in my players. I always trust a lot in my team. And I always try to prepare the team from every situation. We know that Wycombe is a team strong from the physical point of view. We know that they play very directly using the strength that they have. We know that there's a team that is going to press a lot in our defensive half, and we are analyzing the game. But at the same time, we need to prepare the team not only with 2 days, that 1 day is just the recovery of the game. So we need to prepare always our team, and that's what we try to do always, to be prepared for the different contexts and the different type of games that we are going to face this year.
Is this where squad rotation will be important with the amount of games that you're playing all the time?
I think the most important thing is to have always the players in the best way that they can be. Always is important to have every player ready, just in case they need to help the team in any moment. And at the same time, more than the rotation, that can be important too, it's important that the players take the habits to be prepared to play the 90 minutes game every 2 or 3 days. And this is something that demands to face the game or to face the process between the games in a different way. Because for me, every hour is key, and how you use this time between the games is going to be key to can be ready to help the team. So in this year, for me, championship demand more behaviors than usually one league demand, because it's not normal to play 9 games in a row, but this is the contest that we have right now. But at the same time, we love to play football games, so it's something that is very nice, but we need to know how to be prepared to face this type of demandings.
That's great. Thank you, Carlos.
Welcome.
Thank you, Dom. Stu, do you want to pick up from there, please?
Yeah, Carlos, we often talk about foreign players having to adapt to the championship, but how is it for you as a coach? You won't be used to having so many games in such a short period of time. Has that been difficult to adapt your preparation?
Always, I think that always every experience, we need to use every experience to improve. Everyone, when you are 20 years old, when you are 30 years old, when you are 40 years old, 60 years old, always in your life. In the moment for me, you stop your learn process, for me, your career is done, because you are not open to the new ideas, to the new context, to the new demands that football demands to us. That football is always changing, always trying to, all the teams trying to do better in the pitch. So of course, always we need to be ready to this. I think I have the possibility to work here in Huddersfield after have my experience in Leeds United with 2 years before. That was something positive in one of the 2 years, living the playoff too, so living a lot of number of games, but never is the same to be assistant coach than to be the head coach. Of course, never is the same. But I think never is the same too. It's not the same when you arrive the first time to championship without leave what is championship, or to start to coach championship knowing the demand of the championship. For me, championship is one of the more demanding leagues in the world, and especially this year. And this year situation is a new year situation, for everyone for everyone that we are working here in championship, not only for the coaches, for the players too, because never we have the number of games in a row that we are living this year. And that's why, for me, championship in this period of time needs a special preparation, because it's not the same as a player to have the habit to play once per week than to have the habit to play twice per week every week during consecutive weeks. So it's important for everyone to can be adapted fast to these demandings. I think the 7 games in a row that we play before to this period of time help us to know what is going to be the needs that we need to have.
And when you try to judge if a player is physically ready for Tuesday's game, for example, how much of that is based on the sports science, and how much of that is just talking to the player?
I think more than this is the option that they have to play them in a row came from the preparation that the player have before to arrive to this moment. If you want to have one player now ready to play in a row, and we didn't prepare himself from the beginning to come play in a row, he's not going to be fit and ready to do it. From we arrive here to the club, we always create one game in the middle of the week, just to create the habit to play every 2 days or 3 days. Of course, never is the same to play one game in the training ground than to play one game with the consequence of the 3 points in the stadiums. Never is the same, or versus championship opponents too. But at the same time, from we arrive here to the club, knowing the competition, knowing the number of games that we will play in a row, we try to create the habits in the players to be ready to face in the best condition that they are ready to face games in a row. So for me, more than this base of work that we created before came from all the staff, from the physical coach, from the assistant coach, from the head coach, because we wanted to planificate one season that we know that is going to be very demanding.
Of course, but when you have players like Josh Koroma with a little problem on top of that, do you speak much to the players about it, or do you just always think that they'll say they want to play even if they maybe shouldn't?
No, I am watching the player. What I analyze a lot is in the training how they perform. So, for example, today Koroma did a normal training, so it's very positive. We are just waiting the result of the scan to show that everything is right, and we are not taking any risk of injury if we put him to play. So if the player arrives today and we put in the demands that we can put today to the player, we cannot we cannot show, or he cannot show to us how he is, and he saw that he cannot train in, it's impossible that we can think that tomorrow is going to be ready. We can be thinking still in him because he was training today in the training, he was normal, but at the same time we want to know the result of the scan to avoid any time of long-term injury.
And do you worry as the season goes on about fatigue in the latter months, and how do you try and plan around that, or do you?
More than worry is like the fatigue is going to be one of the adversities or one of the challenges that we have this year, 100%. So like from we arrived here to the club, we were talking with the players that fatigue is going to be there before to each game this year, because when you have 1 week, you have time enough to recover from the fatigue and after to prepare the game. But in the moment you are playing in this number of games, you don't have this time. So you need to take the habit to give more normal, to be thinking or to think that the fatigue is going to be more normal, is going to be part of this process. So it's going to be with us every game. Of course, when you have the option to make some rotation, you are going to reduce the level of fatigue. But at the same time, the players, for me, we need to adapt to the championship demandings. And if the championship demanding to play with fatigue, we need to be ready to do it.
And is that ever reflected in the way that you play in games to try to conserve more energy? Because you try to play quite an intense style, don't you?
Yeah, but at the same time, this is one of our strengths. So in the moment you are not focused to show your strengths in the games, you are going to be more weak in each game too. So at the same time, what we need to try to do is to create the habit to play with the style that make us feel strong in each game and try to repeat this style every time. Because sometimes the limitations are more on the minds. And that's what I told you, that the time between the games, how the players, how we manage the time between the games is going to be key.